Okay, let's unpack this. We are doing a deep dive today into what might just be the most consequential single season in recent baseball memory.
I think that's fair to say.
And we're not just, recapping a great year. We are analyzing the precise moments, the decisions that really lay the foundation for a potential dynasty. The narrative arc here is just so rich. It's so full of immediate triumph, high-stakes pressure, and then this profound self-correction. The sources you've shared are even structured like a dramatic presentation deck, fittingly titled 3 Samurai, 1 Dynasty.
Yeah, and that title it's less a declaration and more of a mission statement, isn't it? It just instantly raises the stakes.
It really does.
It frames this entire season not as the peak, the zenith, but as the foundational blueprint for a sustained era of dominance. Yeah. So our mission today really is to be your expert guides through these key slides, to pull out the precise nuggets of knowledge and insight, the why behind the successes that define this whole team's journey. This is your shortcut to truly understanding how legendary talent goes from, just a big acquisition to actual dynasty building.
I love that. And we're moving from this triumphal start halfway across the globe in Japan through the intense psychological pressure faced by, the biggest star in the sport.
Of course.
And it culminates in a World Series crisis that's solved not by some brilliant play, but by an act of, spectacular vulnerability from the manager.
Which we will absolutely get into.
We have 4 distinct slides acting as our roadmap today, and we need to dedicate enough time to each to really capture the full picture. So let's start right at the very beginning with slide 1. Which immediately sets a tone of historical significance.
And it's so crucial to understand this starting point. Everything that follows, the struggles, the pressure, the eventual championship, it all hinges on the almost impossibly high bar they set right at the beginning of the season.
Right.
If they had stumbled out of the gate, the whole narrative of dynasty would have been, instantly extinguished. Poof, gone.
Okay, so slide 1 is titled The Perfect Prologue. The greatest opening dash. That phrasing, that is an accident, right?
Not at all.
It's staking a clear claim of historical significance, and the story begins brilliantly with the Japan opening series.
The location and timing there, they were just master strokes of symbolism. This was so much more than just a season opener.
It felt bigger.
It was a carefully curated, triumphant return to the Tokyo Dome. And against the Cubs, no less. You have to think about the global stage that was set for this team's new configuration. They weren't just playing a baseball game. They were bridging American baseball with the deepest roots of Japanese baseball culture. And in doing so, they were validating this new international approach of the entire franchise. It immediately established the team as this global entity defined by global talent.
And the performance, crucially, backed up the immense hype, which is always the hardest part, isn't it?
Always.
The sources highlight 2 key games that really cemented this perfect prologue. And the pressure in Game 1, it was immense. And it fell squarely on the shoulders of their prized pitching acquisition, Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Yes, and that pressure was manifold. It wasn't just about the huge contract amount, which was obviously a big part of it. It was the entire expectation of the franchise rebuild. For a starting pitcher, especially one transitioning from the MPB to MLB, that first start is always the most scrutinized. It's where everyone is looking.
Absolutely. So how did he do?
He secured the victory. Pitched 5 innings and allowed only 1 earned run. Now look, 5 innings isn't a super deep start.
Yep.
But to achieve that win on a stage where the entire world is watching, to minimize the damage like that, it's a vital psychological victory.
It's an immediate confidence injection.
Exactly. For the player, it confirms, okay, I can do this. And for the organization, it validates the massive financial and strategic investment they just made. That start signaled stability right out of the gate.
And if Yamamoto provided that stability in Game 1, the narrative symmetry of Game 2 is what truly cemented the theme of this whole presentation. It's perfect.
It really is.
We see Hiroki Sasaki, the 3rd key figure making his first major appearance. He's the future, right? The untapped potential. And then who closes the curtain on the whole show?
It had to be him.
Shohei Ohtani. Hitting his first home run, his Nishan to seal the 2-game sweep.
That rapid-fire introduction of the core 3 samurai is the physical realization of the dynasty blueprint. It's all right there in those first 2 games.
It is.
You have Yamamoto providing the essential first victory, the steady hand. You have Sasaki representing the promising depth and the long-term future. And then you have Ohtani delivering the decisive, spectacular movie-ending blow.
It was an instant, undeniable demonstration of their new foundation. And the momentum they generated wasn't just physical.
No, it was narrative. They left Japan having already proven the premise of their entire ambitious construction project. The story was already written.
And that narrative momentum, it just immediately carried back to the U.S. This is the dominance on home soil. The sources describe the team being led by the Sayonara arc. We should probably pause on that phrase. For you listeners who might follow the game but maybe not the specific terminology, sayonara in this context refers to a walk-off hit.
Right, a game ender.
Exactly, it ends the game immediately. So the use of arc suggests not just one dramatic game-winning hit, but a repeated series of these clutch late-game performances by Ohtani.
Precisely. And the psychological impact of repeated clutch performances, especially early in the season, you just cannot overstate it.
How so?
Well, when opposing managers and pitchers see this happening over and over, they realize that regardless of how well they pitch for 8 innings, there is a literal ticking time bomb waiting for them at the plate.
Right. The inevitability.
That phenomena, the sayonara arc, it breeds this overwhelming, maybe even arrogant confidence within the team, and on the other side, a debilitating fear among rivals.
It changes the whole mindset.
It completely shifts the team's expectation from hoping to win to knowing they can end it on a single swing. That's a powerful weapon.
And that kind of confidence, it fuels historic streaks, which is exactly what happened next. They achieved an 8-game winning streak. 8. A feat that hadn't been accomplished by the organization in 70 years. Let's really pause on that historical context. 70 years. We are talking about an organization going back almost to the beginning of the post-war era of baseball.
70 years in baseball is ancient history. It's a different world. We have to consider how much the game has changed.
Oh, massively.
In the 1950s, travel was completely different. Pitching rotations were simpler. The depth of talent across the entire league was far less developed than it is today.
It's not even comparable.
Not at all. So in modern baseball, with total parity, expanded schedules, and a sheer level of sophisticated strategy, just maintaining a 3 or 4 game streak is difficult. An 8-game streak, especially for a newly put together team under this immense pressure to live up to major acquisitions, it defies statistical probability.
So it's not just defying probability, it's signaling instantaneous cohesion.
Yes. A team that can maintain that kind of streak immediately suggests that the chemistry is perfect, the execution is flawless, and the organizational philosophy has taken root immediately.
It's like a cheat code.
It essentially compresses years of team building into a single month.
That's the real insight here, I think.
Right. This streak wasn't just 8 wins on a schedule. It was 8 stress-tested performances, validating that all the new parts fit together seamlessly. It's the proof of concept that the general manager dreamed of.
So what does this all mean when we finally look at the concrete numbers on the slide? The April record, it shows 21 wins, 11 games over .500, and 11 1E, and first place in the National League, the SEF U.
This is where it moves beyond a good start and enters the realm of franchise history.
Yeah.
Achieving an 11-game cushion above .500 this early in season is massive. What does that cushion buy you strategically?
Time. Flexibility.
It buys you flexibility, exactly. It allows you to rest key players, manage workloads, and critically, it completely shifts the trade deadline narrative.
Oh, that's a great point.
You're no longer scrambling for a spot. You're shopping for a luxury piece to solidify a World Series run. This sustained dominance also psychologically neuters the rest of the division.
How so?
Well, they spent all offseason planning how to beat this super team, and then they get punched in the mouth immediately. Game over before it even starts.
The 11-game difference, specifically, sends such a profound message. It proves that the major acquisitions, the very cornerstone of the dynasty ambition, delivered immediate, quantifiable, and historically significant success across multiple metrics.
Not just home runs.
Right. Run differential, defensive consistency, not just relying on power. This perfect prologue was a statement of overwhelming intent, and it forced everyone to acknowledge that the team was exactly what it had promised to be.
And it set the stage for everything else that happened during the season. If the prologue was about triumphs and, effortless momentum, then the next slide, which we're moving to now, is about the other side of that coin. It's about pressure and self-correction, the necessary crucible that forges champions.
Right. Moving on to slide 2. And the title alone Shohei Ohtani's awakening, the God strike that broke the silence, immediately tells us that the narrative has transitioned from that smooth sailing to some serious adversity.
A complete 180.
The focus shifts dramatically from team triumph to a legendary, high-stakes individual comeback.
And the crisis outlined here is just brutal because it occurred at the absolute worst possible moment. The worst timing slump.
The postseason.
The postseason. Ohtani's bat went completely silent. Specifically, his batting average in the first 6 playoff games was below .100. It was 0-0.
Which, for context, hitting under .100 is, you're essentially an automatic out.
It's a black hole in the lineup. And in the playoffs, where every single plate appearance is amplified 100 times over, this is devastating timing for any player, let alone the face of the entire franchise.
And the external pressure wasn't just, media scrutiny from sports writers, it was institutional humiliation.
That's a good way to put it.
The source material notes he was publicly labeled the series anxiety factor, targoed by MLB's official communication channel.
Staggering, isn't it?
It's staggering. It wasn't just some pundit trying to get clicks by criticizing him. It was the organization that runs the sport, defining him publicly as a source of weakness in the moment of truth.
And that immense psychological burden to be viewed not just as struggling, but as a literal liability by the official channels, that can be paralyzing for an athlete.
I can only imagine.
It forces a player to confront the possibility that they are single-handedly sinking the multi-billion-dollar project that was built around them. That pressure cooker requires more than just physical talent. It demands a deep, almost philosophical mental fortitude.
Which brings us to the King's confidence and self-correction. We have to explore his internal response here because it reveals the mindset of truly elite athletes when they're under catastrophic stress.
And his quote is so telling. He was asked if he believed they could win, even if he personally wasn't hitting. And he responded with this sort of quiet confidence. He said, "I believe we can win even if I hit." The original is, "Devos era, devos random to conserve, da the liro, the aura money, yusri, rano to sing it, word origin," so it's not cockiness.
Not at all. It's a subtle redirect. He's acknowledging the power of his own bat while simultaneously confirming his trust in his teammates. He's telling the world, the pressure's on me, yes, but my team is good enough to survive my struggles, and when I fix this, watch out.
It's a focus on process, not on panic.
Exactly.
But the real insight, I think, for the knowledgeable listener is in the corrective action he took, the return to origin. This wasn't about, spending an extra hour in the weight room or watching more film. This was a specific technical reset.
Very specific. He returned to outdoor batting practice, LSE, which is the first time he had done so since his transfer. So why is that decision to leave the controlled environment of the indoor cage and go outside such a critical technical solution?
This is where we get into the weeds a bit, which I love.
Yeah.
Indoor cages, while they're useful for volume hitting, getting your reps in, they remove essential variables. Natural light, wind, and the true trajectory of the ball against the sky.
The feedback loop is different.
Completely different. The source states the goal was to reconfirm the sense of hitting the ball, to correct his forms, subtle deviations, the aorwatus. When you're in a deep slump, these subtle deviations might mean your timing is off by just milliseconds, causing you to foul off or weakly ground up pitches that you would normally crush.
So he was deliberately reintroducing variables, the wind, the sun, the actual background of the stadium, in order to force his eyes and his body to track the pitch with absolute real-world precision. He wasn't just hitting balls into a net, he was recalibrating his internal clock against the real environment.
Exactly. That subtle deviation, it could have been a slight dip in his front shoulder or a timing issue against high-velocity breaking pitches. In the cage, the ball comes off the machine and lands in a net 10 feet away. You lose the visual feedback of true ball flight.
Right.
By returning outside, he could see the precise launch angle, the effect of the backspin, and where the ball truly went. That forces an immediate, palpable connection between his swing path and the physics of the result. It's an almost obsessive attention to the fundamentals, rejecting the synthetic environment when the stakes were at their absolute highest.
Okay, I have to push back just a little on that, though. Wouldn't an outdoor setting introduce too many variables for a player who's already under immense pressure? Isn't consistency the key when you're in a slump? Why risk the mental distraction of sun glare and wind?
Yeah, it's a fantastic point, and it really highlights the philosophical risk he took. But the point wasn't consistency, it was truth.
The truth of the swing.
The truth of the swing. Indoor consistency can very easily lead to a consistent bad habit. Ohtani needed to break the slump by finding the truth of his swing, even if it meant dealing with all that external noise.
It's a calculated risk.
It's a calculated risk that only a superstar with absolute confidence in his underlying mechanics would even dare to take. He knew the deviation was minor, he just needed that authentic feedback loop to lock it back in.
And the payoff for this deliberate, high-stakes self-correction was immediate and, well, legendary. The NLCS Game 4.
This is the definitive moment. This is what the slide title is referencing, to God's strike. The synthesis of his two-way dominance in this single game is truly mythic. I mean, it's unprecedented.
Laid out for us.
On the pitching side,
Sure.
7 shutout innings, 7 paw, and 10 strikeouts. He just utterly shut down the opponent with a blend of his splitter and fastball. Complete dominance.
But the real hammer blow came at the plate, which is exactly where the slump had been most acute. He hit 3 home runs. 3 in the same game, driving in 5 runs, and basically single-handedly leading the team to the World Series.
That single performance completely redefined his legacy as a postseason player. To go from being the series anxiety factor less than a week prior, to delivering arguably the greatest individual performance in playoff history.
Pitching 7 scoreless innings and hitting 3 home runs.
It demonstrates not just raw talent, but supreme mental resilience. It confirmed that the outdoor practice worked, the slump was broken, and that the king had indeed awakened when the team needed him most. This transcendent night was the God strike that didn't just break the silence, it shattered it.
That moment, you'd think, should have ensured smooth sailing to the championship. But the narrative is never that simple, is it?
Never.
Even after Ohtani's heroism, this team faced near disaster, proving that one man's performance, no matter how historic, can't solve all organizational pressure.
And that takes us right to slide 3. The title is incredibly evocative, and it says such a stark contrast to the heroism of the previous slide. Thrown on the edge, 2 wins, 3 losses, amidst the cheers of Toronto.
Yeah, that immediately signals that the team's momentum stalled right at the cusp of ultimate victory.
The wheels came off.
So here's where it gets really interesting for me. After the monumental high of the NLCS, they managed to win Game 3 of the World Series, but then the series just descended into disaster. They lost Games 4 and 5 at home, a home losing streak,
Unthinkable.
and the series score plummeted to 2 wins and 3 losses.
2 through 3 years.
And the psychological consequence of those home losses is just profound.
Oh, it's got to be crushing.
Losing in front of your own fans means you surrender control, you let the opposing team grab all the momentum, and the dream of consecutive championships, the Grise, it goes from being inevitable to hanging by a thread.
The pressure just multiplies exponentially. Oh yeah, because you failed to capitalize on the critical home field advantage. The entire narrative instantly shifts from destiny to potential collapse, and the media storm is focused entirely on who is to blame.
Which meant a desperate return to enemy territory. The team's situation was dire. To survive, they had to win 2 consecutive games in Toronto.
On the road, backs against the wall.
They were walking into this intense, hostile environment, facing passionate and enthusiastic Blue Jays fans. The image implied on the slide, that 3-2 deficit on the scoreboard, it just emphasizes the climb they had to face.
And the environment implied by, amidst the cheers of Toronto, it creates this palpable sense of isolation.
You're all alone out there.
You are. When a team is facing elimination, the atmosphere is heavy enough in their own dugout. But when you have to win 2 games in a row while the home crowd is roaring for your defeat, it's mentally exhausting. That's where the high-stakes mental game truly breaks down. It leads to tension, tightness, overthinking, especially in fielding or pitching decisions. Players start pressing, trying too hard to be the hero.
And this is where the storyline takes the most fascinating turn, because the solution had nothing to do with physics or fielding or hitting.
Oh.
It was all about the psychological management of that crippling tension embodied in the commander's runaway, the genome.
This anecdote, it provides such a crucial non-traditional insight into leadership during peak stress. The atmosphere during practice was described as heavy and suffocating.
I can imagine.
And the manager, Dave Roberts, a man who lives and breathes high-stakes baseball, he recognized that the team wasn't losing because of a lack of talent. They were losing because of paralyzing tension. So his solution was, Well, it was brilliant, if completely counterintuitive to conventional sports psychology.
He started a spontaneous running competition with a player. This is a deliberate, almost irrational move designed purely for disruption, to break that oppressive mental state with physical action and, critically, with absurdity.
But the execution of it is what makes this a legendary leadership moment. The critical part is the physical comedy of the manager himself. Roberts tripped. He fell flat on his face.
I have to wonder what was going through his mind right before he started running. Was this planned chaos or just pure, desperate improvisation?
I've always wondered that. But the result was immediate and profound. The players burst into laughter. And just like that, the team's tension was instantly released. That is just extraordinary. A leader making himself physically vulnerable, humiliating himself to save the mental state of his team.
It's the ultimate act of self-deprecation as a leadership tool.
It is. It gives the players permission to stop taking the situation so seriously just for 5 minutes.
And what's so fascinating here is that the traditional leadership strategy in that moment would be a fiery, intense speech, right? Sure, the win one for the Gipper speech.
A challenge to their manhood or their legacy. Roberts chose the complete opposite, human vulnerability. By proving that the stakes weren't so high that he couldn't laugh at his own sudden clumsy collapse, he transferred that relief directly to his players.
He reset the mood.
He reset everything. It reinforced team cohesion through this moment of shared absurdity and proved far more effective than any demanding speech could have been. It was the reset button that allowed them to walk back into enemy territory feeling loose and relaxed, ready to just play baseball instead of fearing failure.
The knowledge nugget here, then, is that sometimes the best tactical move a leader can make is to deliberately look ridiculous in order to normalize human error and release that paralyzing anxiety.
That psychological intervention was the true turning point that allowed them to go on and win those 2 games and secure the championship.
Absolutely. The victory was secured in Toronto, but you could argue the series was won during that practice session when the collective breath of the entire team was finally released.
I think you'd be right.
Okay, so we transition now to slide 4. The final reflective statement that pulls the entire narrative right back to the central concept of dynasty building. It's a very simple slide designed for maximum impact.
And the statement is, the legend is still just a prologue. Duai, RG, Eads. This is, you could argue, the most important slide in the whole deck.
Why do you say that?
Because it shifts the focus entirely from the past achievement, the championship they just won, to the future expectation. It states that despite all the dramatic highs we just discussed, the record start, the NLCS heroism, the successful crisis management in Toronto, this entire season was merely the groundwork.
It suggests that everything we just analyzed, the 70-year record, Ohtani's awakening through that outdoor practice session, Robert's intentional or, unintentional fall.
Right.
These are just stepping stones. This season proved the potential and the resilience of the group. But the future must prove the reality of the dynasty, which requires sustained consecutive dominance.
And that potential is physically embodied by the 3 names explicitly listed right below the statement. These are the 3 cornerstones upon which this prologue is built, and they each represent a distinct stage of that dynasty blueprint.
Okay, let's break them down. First, Shohei Ohtani. He anchors both the present offensive power and the narrative arc of high-stakes performance and that successful self-correction we talked about. He is the immediate, explosive catalyst.
Then second, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He is the pitching ace who secured that first major victory in Japan and represents the immediate validation of the organization's global talent acquisition strategy. He is the stability, the immediate impact on the pitching staff.
And third, Roki Sasaki, the young phenom who appeared in the Japan series. He represents the future continuity and the raw, untapped potential that will maintain this dominance for years to come. He is the promise of perpetual excellence.
These 3 players were featured throughout the whole narrative, from the opening series triumph to the U.S. dominance, and now here in this final slide as the future promise. They are the dynamic core, the 3 samurai, who are meant to define this entire era. This final slide is less of a conclusion and more of a new mission statement. Your standard has been set, now go sustain it.
Wow, that was an incredibly detailed deep dive into a season that functioned less like a sports season and more like a carefully crafted screenplay.
It really had all the acts, didn't it?
It did. We started with that historic record-setting opening dash that instantly validated the organization's massive shift in strategy and spending.
We then dove into the immense psychological war that Shohei Ohtani fought and won, leading to that mythological Game 4 performance. And crucially, we analyzed the technical solution, the return to outdoor practice, that unlocked his swing by forcing him to reconnect with the authentic physics of the game.
And finally, we learned that even that heroism wasn't enough to coast to victory. The team faced a paralyzing crisis at 2 wins, 3 losses, which was resolved not by a brilliant tactical move, but by the manager's spontaneous, vulnerable, and hilarious act of falling flat on his face, which released the team's crippling tension through shared human absurdity.
And understanding this story really means understanding those granular details. The historical context of the 70-year record, the precise reason Ohtani needed to leave the controlled indoor environment, and the powerful psychological impact of Robert's fall. These are the nuggets of knowledge that reveal the true character and the resilience of this potential dynasty.
So what does this all mean? We've seen the blueprint, we've seen the talent, and we've seen the stress test.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the foundation is undeniably set. You have 3 players of virtually unparalleled talent, Ohtani, Yamamoto, and Sasaki, who have already proven their ability to win under extreme history-making pressure.
Right.
The narrative is established, the talent is in place, and the team culture has been stress-tested and proven resilient enough to laugh in the face of elimination. So, given the depth of talent represented by this core, the question isn't whether a dynasty is possible, but rather, how many consecutive championships would truly validate the claim that this opening season was indeed the greatest opening dash, ensuring the legend lives up to the promise of the prologue. That is the standard against which they will now be judged, and that is what you now have to mull over.